How is it you can enforce the law to protect women from discrimination if you have trouble defining what a woman is? I want to talk about Judge Jackson's nomination. She had her Senate confirmation hearings this week, and I don't know if you watched them. I personally thought they were a disaster for her. I thought, and I knew she was an extremist. She was an activist on the bench. She was an activist off the bench. And during her hearings, she said essentially that she's an originalist, which of course now all judges say at the federal level, which I guess is at least a victory for those of us who believe in the rule of law and that judges should apply the law and not make it up as they go along and politicize it. But you know, that's something all judges have to say nowadays, because to kind of come out and say that, well, you know, I believe I should be able to apply the law as I see fit, no matter what the Constitution says, that doesn't even pass muster even for many Democrats these days. Now, the issue of that came up that I was kind of vaguely aware of beforehand, but didn't realize until the hearings, and this kind of shows the value sometimes of having these hearings, is that her activism to obtain more lenient sentences for pedophiles. It's incredible. Now, the left has tried to do fact checks and debunking of what she was doing, both as a member of the Sentencing Commission for the United States and then later as a federal court judge in terms of actually imposing sentences. But they are what they are. And I encourage you to go back and look at her answers and responses to those questions. And it was disturbing. I mean, she clearly has a different approach, I think, than most Americans to sentences for pedophiles. I mean, she seems to think that because there's an easy availability of these images on the internet, that those who engage in view this type of material on the internet should be treated less severely than those who used to get it through the mail or other ways. It's disturbing. Now, does it mean that she's in favor of child pornography or she supports? No, it does not. But it means she has this approach to the rule of law and criminal penalties that's way to the left of the mainstream, and really extreme to the left of the mainstream. And there's no denying that. And I don't think it's coincidental that you saw these outrageous attacks on Clarence Thomas and his wife Ginny Thomas this week through leaks from the January 6th committee of text messages of Ginny Thomas expressing worries to the chief of staff of Donald Trump, Mark Meadows, about the way the 2020 election was handled, which is her fundamental right as a citizen to do. And they're trying to, as you know, you're not allowed to criticize the 2020 election. The left thinks that ought to be illegal, and you should be jailed for doing that. And I'm not I'm slightly exaggerating, but unfortunately not that much. Because that's how, in my view, that was designed to distract from the fact that Judge Jackson, who also was unwilling to define what a woman meant. So I'm not a biologist. Well, I'm not a biologist. I know what a woman is. Do you know what a woman is? Well, we now have a federal court judge who, by all account, will get on the Supreme Court, who's unwilling to define what a woman is. Now, what does that mean when she talks like that? It means, in my view, she is furthering and very much aware of the radical transgender agenda, where anyone can be, where you have individuals who born a male then define themselves as female. And as you know, there's a big legal debate on that. Now, what she could have said is that, look, I know why you're asking me that, and I have a feeling this is going to come up in the courts, and I'm not going to play the game. But instead, she said, I can't define what a woman is because I'm not a biologist. Of course, I mean, that's just, to me, a disingenuous answer. And it further highlights, if you could bear with me as I make a broader point, is that this whole attack on the reality-based definition of women as part of this transgender extremist agenda is one, in my view, that will lead to the unraveling of our anti-discrimination protections for women. How is it you can enforce the law to protect women from discrimination if you have trouble defining what a woman is? I mean, that's where this is leading to. And to me, that's kind of a real extremism. And, it's one thing then to kind of know, given her background and her general activism and the way she's ruled in certain cases, that she was kind of a liberal activist. But to see her kind of embrace some of that in person in the hearings, to me was quite extraordinary. Now, of course, the Republicans have long been planning to lose this nomination fight. In a 50-50 Senate, there are ways that Republicans can effectively shut down this nomination or any confirmation of a appointee for by the president. But they decided not to, and because they decided not to, I'm not going to belabor that. But just so you know, every Republican, and there will be some who vote for her, and every Democrat who votes for her should be held accountable for voting for someone who has this soft on crime approach to pedophiles, who is quite evidently someone likely to support abortion on demand as enforced by the Supreme Court, meaning that no states can do anything to protect unborn lives throughout the entire 9 months of pregnancy. It's pretty clear based on her answer. She doesn't think much of the Second Amendment. She was asked if she thought there was a Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms, and she said that's what the Supreme Court has ruled. Well, that's the type of answer you give when you don't agree with the way the Supreme Court has ruled. And then, of course, you've got the CRT-laden philosophy behind how I can't define women, and that's critical theory. It's critical race theory. Is repackaged Marxism. There's different flavors of it. You have critical feminist theory, critical queer theory is what they call it, the LGBT type of Marxist analysis. And she's obviously well versed in it, and she knows what to say so as not to offend people who are well versed in it. One of the other interesting things I learned about her, and I didn't know this before the confirmation hearings, is that she's on the board of trustees for Georgetown Day School. And Georgetown Day School is a well-known private school here in Washington, D.C. that is radical. It has this progressive, extreme Marxist agenda throughout all its curriculum. CRT all over the place, from first grade through high school. And she's at the board of trustees for it. So this is the type of judge who could be on the Supreme Court if the Senate confirms her. Now, Joe Manchin has said that he will confirm her, despite all of these issues. I'm sure there will be a Republican or two who support her. So I don't know about you, but I think if people are in the Senate and they object to these folks, they should plan to win as opposed to planning to lose. So you have to do more than just say, I don't want to vote for this person. You have to think, what tools available do I have let me start over. In my view, you have to do more than just say, I'm opposed to someone like Judge Jackson. And you have to say, what tool you really have to say is, well, I'm opposed to her, and I want to actually defeat the nomination. And what tools do I have available to me as a senator under the Constitution and Senate rules, which are designed to really help individual senators stop the Senate from doing anything, to stop Judge Jackson's nomination? And of course, that's not the way the Republicans are thinking. They think they just need to oppose her, and they don't need to work to stop her. Now, not all senators believe that, but certainly the Senate leadership seems to believe that. I mean, for instance, one way I know that's to be the case is the refusal to confront Judge Jackson and ask her about, well, how is it, what did you think about Joe Biden's decision not to, or to specifically exclude people from consideration for this Supreme Court slot based on race and sex. Do you feel comfortable with that? Why didn't you object to it? You're obviously a beneficiary of it. Why didn't you object to it? I'm not aware of any Republicans asking her about that, or even asking Joe Biden about it. So I think you should call, because that's what they don't want you to do. They don't want to hear from you. They want you to think it's wired, and there's nothing you can do. Well, I don't know about you, but you think, as a citizen, you should think, well, what is it I can do? I can let them know what I think about Judge Jackson. Call your senators at 202-224-3121 and let them know what you think. There'll probably be a committee vote. I'm not sure if they've scheduled a committee vote yet. My guess is they're going to go on Easter. They'll probably do it by the end. I don't know if they're going to do it next week. I don't know when the Easter break is. But anyway, call your senators. And I know some of you, when I ask you to call your senators to share your views, and I'm not telling you what to say. You're adults. You know what to say. Heck, if you support her, give your senators a call too. Participate in the process. Nothing wrong with that. But call your senators. And don't think just because the Republican that you're calling or the Democrat you're calling doesn't agree with you that your call isn't useful and valuable, because they take note of the level of support, the volume of calls. Even if the call isn't picked up, they take note of how often the phone is ringing. So it does matter, and I encourage you to participate. Judge Jackson is the type of nominee who should not be on the Supreme Court of the United States. Her confirmation hearings confirmed that, and no senator, in my view, should vote to confirm her.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.